The trade ship Morning Star glided silently through the dark space near Earth's outer colonies. Ada stood at her medical station, her pale blue skin giving off a soft glow as she organized her supplies. As a Lumini medical officer, her natural bioluminescence helped her work in the dim light of the ship's power-saving mode. Medical Officer Ada, please report to the bridge. The ship's communication system crackled. She quickly closed her medical cabinet and headed toward the front of the ship. Before she could reach the bridge, a massive explosion rocked the entire vessel. The impact threw her against the corridor wall, and emergency lights began flashing red throughout the ship. Warning! Warning! Pirates detected. All crew to battle stations. The ship's AI blared through the speakers. Ada's heart raced as she steadied herself. Through the ship's windows, she could see 3 dark vessels approaching, their weapons already charged. The notorious deep space pirates, known for attacking trade ships and selling crew members into slavery. All non-essential personnel to escape pods immediately. The captain's voice boomed through the ship. Another blast hit them, and Ada could smell smoke filling the corridors. She ran toward the escape pod section, her skin's glow intensifying with fear and adrenaline. Around her, other crew members rushed to their stations or toward the escape pods. The ship shuddered with each new hit from the pirates. Ada reached the escape pod area just as a massive explosion tore through the nearby hull. The blast knocked her off her feet and sent a piece of metal straight through her right leg. She screamed in pain, her natural glow flickering like a dying light. "Help!" she called out, but the remaining crew had either already evacuated or were too far to hear. The ship's artificial gravity began to fail, and loose objects started floating around her. Through tears of pain, Ada pulled herself into the nearest escape pod. Her leg was bleeding badly, and the injury was preventing her species' natural healing ability from working properly. She had to get away before the pirates boarded the ship. With shaking hands, she activated the escape pod's launch sequence. The small vessel detached from the dying ship just as another explosion ripped through the Morning Star. The force of the blast sent her pod spinning wildly into space. Ada tried to stabilize the pod, but the controls were damaged. She watched helplessly as the pod entered the atmosphere of a nearby planet. Warning lights flashed across the control panel as the temperature inside began to rise. Emergency landing protocols engaged, the pod system announced calmly. Warning. Damage to navigation systems. Warning. Damage to communication systems. Warning. Damage to landing stabilizers. The pod streaked through the planet's atmosphere like a meteor. Ada gripped the safety harness tightly, her injured leg sending waves of pain through her body. The ground rushed up to meet her at frightening speed. With a deafening crash, the pod slammed into the planet's surface. It bounced once, twice, then skidded through thick vegetation before coming to rest in a small clearing. The impact knocked Ada unconscious. When she finally opened her eyes, smoke filled the pod's cabin. Through the cracked viewport, she could see an alien forest. The trees were different from her homeworld, with brown trunks and green leaves instead of the crystal formation she was used to. Ada tried to move but cried out in pain. Her leg injury had gotten worse during the crash, and now she could see other cuts and bruises across her body. Her skin's glow was very faint now, a dangerous sign for a Lumini. She managed to activate the pod's emergency beacon, but the signal was weak. The communication system was too damaged to send any clear messages. She was stranded on an unknown planet, badly injured, with pirates possibly still in orbit. Night began to fall, and strange sounds emerged from the forest around her. Ada's medical training told her she needed help soon. Her injuries were severe, and her species' healing ability wasn't working. Her glow grew dimmer with each passing minute. As darkness surrounded her pod, Ada curled up in pain and fear. She was alone, injured, and lost on a strange world. For the first time in her life, she felt completely hopeless. Little did she know, Help was closer than she thought. James walked through the dark forest, his heavy boots crushing fallen leaves beneath them. As a soldier of the Earth Defense Force, he had patrolled this area countless times, but tonight felt different. The normally peaceful sky had lit up earlier with what looked like a battle far above the planet. His helmet's advanced sensors picked up unusual readings ahead. Better check it out, he muttered to himself, adjusting the rifle strapped across his chest. Years of frontier duty had taught him to be careful. Space pirates often targeted this region. The moon cast long shadows through the trees as James followed his scanner signal. He moved quietly despite his heavy armor, years of training showing in every step. A faint blue glow caught his eye through the trees, something he had never seen before in these woods. As he got closer, James saw the crashed escape pod. Its hull was damaged and smoking slightly, with deep gouges in the earth behind it showing its violent landing path. His helmet scan showed it wasn't from Earth or any of their allied species. "Base, this is Patrol 7, he spoke into his radio. "I found a crashed pod. Unknown origin. Requesting instructions." Only static answered him. The dense forest often blocked communications, leaving him to make his own decisions. James approached carefully, his rifle ready. The pod's design was elegant, unlike the brutal ships space pirates usually flew. Through a cracked viewport, he saw something that made him pause, a soft blue glow pulsing weakly inside. Following his training, he did a full scan for traps or weapons. Finding none, he looked for the pod's emergency release. The door opened with a hiss, revealing what lay inside. James had seen aliens before, but never one like this. A humanoid figure lay curled up, her skin giving off a fading blue glow. She was injured badly, with a serious wound in her leg and other cuts across her body. Her face showed pain even in unconsciousness. His first thought was to call for backup, but one look at her dimming glow told him there wasn't time. James had been a combat medic before joining the Frontier Patrol. He knew when someone, human or alien, needed immediate help. "Hey," he said softly, keeping his distance. "Can you hear me?" Ada's eyes fluttered open at his voice. She saw a tall figure in armor standing at the pod's entrance. Fear flashed across her face, and she tried to move away, but pain stopped her. "Easy there," James said, slowly removing his helmet to show his face. "I'm here to help." He kept his movements slow and gentle, remembering his first contact training. Ada watched him with wide eyes. She had heard stories about humans, how strong they were, how their planet's high gravity had made them powerful. Some called them dangerous, but the face she saw now showed only concern. James pulled out his medical scanner, showing it to her before using it. "You're badly hurt. That leg needs treatment." He spoke clearly and simply, hoping she had a universal translator. "Pirates," Ada managed to say weakly, her translator working despite her injuries. "They attacked my ship." "You're safe now," James assured her, slowly reaching for his medkit. "I'm going to help you, okay? I'm a soldier, but I'm also a medic." Ada's glow flickered dangerously dim. She looked at the human's honest face and made a decision. Slowly, she nodded. James got to work, using his basic medical supplies to stabilize her leg. He was amazed at how light she seemed, even in his armored hands. Her skin was cool to the touch, and the glow seemed to respond to his careful treatment, brightening slightly. "My outpost isn't far," he said as he finished the temporary bandage. "You need proper medical care. Will you trust me to take you there?" Ada looked at this strange human who had found her. His hands were strong enough to crush steel, yet they had treated her wounds with incredible gentleness. She was still scared, but something in his eyes made her feel safe for the first time since the crash. "Yes," she whispered, her glow pulsing slightly brighter. "I trust you." James's outpost cabin sat at the edge of the forest, a mix of military efficiency and rustic comfort. He carried Ada carefully through the door, her glowing form casting soft blue shadows on the walls. She felt as light as a child in his arms, a reminder of how different their species were. "Home, sweet home," he said, gently laying her on the medical bed in his small infirmary room. The outpost was supposed to have a full medical bay, but budget cuts meant James had to make do with basic equipment. Ada looked around nervously. The room was filled with strange human devices she didn't recognize. Everything looked so solid, built to withstand the heavy gravity humans lived in. She watched as James gathered medical supplies, his movements careful despite his large frame. "I need to clean and treat that leg properly," James explained, showing her each tool before using it. "Your species, you can heal naturally, right? I've noticed your glow gets brighter when you're feeling better." Ada nodded weakly. "Yes, but injury too severe now. Natural healing, not working." She struggled with the translator, pain making it hard to focus. As James worked on her leg, Ada studied him curiously. Humans were famous across the galaxy for their endurance and strength. Their home planet's gravity had made them incredibly durable. Yet here was this powerful being, threading a needle with delicate precision to stitch her wounds. "You're not afraid?" she asked suddenly. "Of me being alien?" James smiled as he finished a bandage. "Should I be? You're injured and need help. That's all that matters to me." His simple answer surprised her. On her world, people spent hours discussing the philosophical implications of everything. But humans, she was learning, could be refreshingly direct. The next few days fell into a gentle routine. James would check her wounds, bring her food, carefully chosen from his scanner's approved list, and talk with her about their different worlds. Each day, her glow grew a little stronger. "Your world must be beautiful," James said one evening as he changed her bandages. "All those glowing people walking around." Ada laughed, her first real laugh since the crash. "And your world must be exhausting. Everything so heavy, so solid. That's why we build everything like little fortresses," he grinned, gesturing at the thick walls around them. "We're used to carrying the weight of our world." Their cultural differences led to funny moments. Ada was amazed when James easily lifted a heavy metal cabinet to clean under it. James was fascinated when Ada used her bioluminescence to read a book in complete darkness. One morning, Ada tried to stand by herself. Her leg buckled, but before she could fall, James was there, his strong hands catching her gently. "Careful," he said softly. "Your leg's healing well, but you need time." Ada felt strange as he helped her back to the bed. His hands were so warm compared to her cool skin. Among her people, such warmth would be considered a fever, but in him, it felt nice. "Why did you help me?" she asked finally, the question that had been on her mind for days. "Your military protocols." James checked her bandages before answering. "Protocols tell us what we must do, but being human means knowing when to listen to our hearts instead." Ada's glow brightened at his words, making James smile. He had learned that bright pulses meant strong emotions for her species. "Besides," he added, "you're teaching me so much about your people's medicine. That healing technique you showed me yesterday could help a lot of people here." They worked together in comfortable silence after that. Ada shared her medical knowledge, showing him how her people treated injuries. James taught her about human healing methods, their body's incredible ability to recover from almost anything. Neither of them mentioned it, but something was changing between them. Each smile, each gentle touch, each shared moment of understanding. It was building a bridge between their worlds. In helping her heal, they were discovering something new. Perhaps the greatest strength humans had wasn't in their muscles, but in their hearts. 2 weeks had passed since the crash. Ada's leg had healed enough for her to walk around the cabin, and her natural glow was almost back to full strength. She stood by the window, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors so different from her homeworld. James entered the cabin after his evening patrol, removing his heavy armor. He smiled when he saw her standing there, her blue glow mixing with the orange sunset. "We have visitors coming tomorrow," he said, hanging up his gear. Some settlers from the nearby colony need medical help. Thought maybe we could help them together. Ada turned to him, her glow brightening with excitement. You want me to help treat humans? Why not? You're the best doctor I know, human or alien, James said simply. He had grown to love how her glow pulsed brighter when she was happy. The next morning, 3 settlers arrived. They stared at Ada with wide eyes, but their fear vanished when they saw how gently she worked. Her glowing hands moved with practiced skill as she showed James a Lumini healing technique. The light from my hands can help reduce pain, she explained to their amazed patients. It's a simple trick among my people. Word spread quickly through the colony about the glowing alien healer and the soldier who protected her. More settlers started visiting the cabin for treatment. Some came with injuries, others with illnesses, and a few just to meet the strange but kind alien doctor. Not everyone was friendly, though. One day, a group of angry settlers approached the cabin. We don't want aliens here, they shouted. Send her back where she came from. James stood in front of the cabin, his tall frame blocking their path. He didn't draw his weapon, but his voice carried the authority of Earth Defense Force training. She's under my protection, he said firmly. She's helped your families, healed your children. Is this how you repay kindness? The group backed down, surprised by the soldiers' fierce defense of the alien. After they left, Ada touched James's arm gently. You didn't have to do that, she said softly. Yes, I did, he replied, surprising himself with how much he meant it. That evening, they sat together on the cabin's porch. Ada had made them tea using herbs from her medical supplies, while James shared his emergency chocolate rations, a treat that turned out to be safe for her species. On my world, Ada said, watching the stars appear, we have a saying. The brightest glow comes from shared light. I never understood it until now. James looked at her, noticing how her glow had developed patterns he was beginning to recognize, subtle changes that showed her emotions. Right now, it was the soft, warm pattern he had grown to look forward to seeing. We have sayings, too, he replied. Like home is where the heart is. Funny how some things are the same across the stars. Ada moved closer to him, her cool glow a pleasant contrast to the warm evening. James, what happens when my people find me? When they track the pod signal? He had been avoiding this thought. Military regulations were clear about unauthorized alien contact. But the rules never considered this situation. A human and an alien working together, healing people, growing closer with each passing day. We'll face it together, he said finally. Your people, my commanders, will find a way. Ada's glow brightened at his words. Among her people, such a direct promise would be considered shockingly forward. But she was learning to appreciate the human way. Honest, direct, and brave. James reached out slowly, taking her glowing hand in his. Her skin was cool and smooth against his warm, calloused palm. It should have felt alien, but somehow it felt right. Besides, he added with a smile, who else is going to help me treat all our patients? Ada laughed, her glow creating patterns of joy that danced across the porch. In that moment, neither of them worried about regulations or cultural differences. They had found something special, something that transcended the vast distance between their worlds. They sat together under the stars, a human and a Lumini, their differences forgotten in the simple joy of being close to someone who understood them. The peaceful morning shattered with the sound of James's emergency alarm. He rushed to his equipment station, Ada following close behind. The radar screen showed 3 ships entering the atmosphere, the same type that had attacked her ship. Pirates, Ada whispered, her glow dimming with fear. They've tracked my escape pod. James quickly put on his combat armor. They're not just after you. These raiders have been targeting small colonies too. He checked his weapons and communication system. We need to warn the settlement. Suddenly, his radio crackled to life. Defense Force Patrol 7, this is Colony Center. We have multiple hostile ships approaching. Request immediate assistance. Stay here where it's safe, James told Ada, heading for the door. Ada's glow pulsed with determination. "No, my people are healers, but we're not helpless. I'm coming with you." They rushed to his patrol vehicle, racing toward the colony. In the distance, they could see the pirate ships landing near the settlement's edge. James's vehicle sensors showed at least 20 raiders heading toward the colony's main area. "These pirates want Lumini healers," Ada explained as they drove. "They sell us to the highest bidders. Our abilities are valuable to criminals." James's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Not happening. Not to you, not to this colony." They reached the colony just as the raiders began their attack. The settlers had basic defenses, but they were mostly farmers and traders, not soldiers. James parked behind a building and quickly formed a plan. "I'll hold them off at the main street," he said, checking his rifle. "You help evacuate the medical center." Ada touched his arm, her glow bright with worry. "Be careful. Their weapons can pierce most armor." James gave her a confident smile. They'd never fought an Earth Defense Force soldier before. The pirates were surprised to meet professional military resistance. James's training and powered armor made him a formidable opponent. He moved from cover to cover, his shots precise and effective. The raiders hadn't expected such strong opposition from a small colony. Meanwhile, Ada led the medical center evacuation. Her glowing form gave comfort to frightened children as she guided them to safety. When she found injured settlers, she used her healing abilities to stabilize them quickly. The pirates, realizing Illumini was present, changed their focus. A group of them broke away, heading toward the medical center. They didn't expect to find their target helping humans. James saw the raiders changing direction and spoke into his radio. "Ada, you've got company coming." But Ada was ready. She had learned more than just Earth customs during her time with James. As the pirates approached the medical center, they found the doors barricaded. When they tried to break in through the windows, they discovered the traps she had set using human engineering. James fought his way toward her position, his armor scratched but holding. He found Ada using her bioluminescence to blind pirates, while settlers struck from behind with farming tools. The combination of human strength and Lumini abilities proved devastating to the raiders. "Humans and Lumini together," Ada said, her glow pulsing proudly as she stood beside James. "We're stronger than they expected." The remaining pirates, facing unexpected resistance and losing their advantage, began to retreat. James coordinated with the settlers, driving the raiders back to their ships. The colony's defenses, though basic, were enough to convince the pirates this target wasn't worth the trouble. As the pirate ships fled the atmosphere, the settlers gathered in the colony center. They looked at James and Ada with new respect. The human soldier and the alien healer had defended their home together. "Thank you both," the colony leader said. "We would have lost everything without you." Ada's glow created beautiful patterns as she helped treat the wounded. James watched her work, realizing something important. Today had proved that humans and Lumini could do more than just coexist. Together, they could protect and heal, fight and build. The pirates had wanted to exploit their differences. Instead, they had only made their bond stronger. A week after the pirate attack, a large ship appeared in the sky above the colony. Unlike the rough, dark vessels of the pirates, this one shimmered with the elegant designs of Lumini architecture. Ada's people had finally found her. James and Ada stood outside the cabin, watching the ship descend. Her glow was dim with worry, while his face showed a calm he didn't really feel. "That's the Star Seeker," Ada said softly, "one of our main rescue vessels." The ship landed gracefully in a clearing near the colony. Its doors opened, releasing a group of glowing figures. Their light was brighter than Ada's, showing their full health and strength. Leading them was Elder Light, one of the highest-ranking members of Lumini society. Medical Officer Ada, the Elder, spoke through a translator, her voice formal. "We have been searching for survivors of the Morning Star attack. We are relieved to find you alive." Ada stepped forward, her glow strengthening as she stood straighter. "Elder Light, I survived because of this human. He saved my life and protected me." The elder turned to study James. Her glow shifted to patterns that showed surprise and concern. "A human soldier. This is unexpected. There are no protocols for such contact." Just then, a military transport landed nearby. James recognized the Earth Defense Force markings. His commanding officer, Colonel Reed, stepped out with two other officers. "Sergeant James," the colonel called out, his voice stern. "Care to explain why you didn't report finding an alien crash survivor?" The clearing became tense as both groups faced each other. Humans and Lumini, each bound by their own rules and traditions, waited to see what would happen. James stepped forward, standing tall in his uniform. "Sir, I made a choice to save a life. A choice I would make again." "You violated first contact protocols," Colonel Reed said. "And you," he turned to Ada, "have been living among humans without authorization. If I may speak." Elder Light interrupted, her glow creating patterns of diplomatic authority. "We have reports from this colony. They tell us how this human and our medical officer worked together to save many lives, how they defended innocents from pirates." The colonel looked at the colony leader, who had joined them. "Is this true?" "Absolutely," the colony leader confirmed. "They've been treating our sick, protecting our people. They showed us that humans and Lumini can do amazing things together." Ada moved to stand beside James, her glow bright and determined. "I choose to stay," she announced, causing surprised murmurs from both groups. "That's not possible," Elder Light said. "Our laws, our regulations." Colonel Reed started at the same time. "Your laws and regulations never considered love," Ada interrupted, her glow creating patterns of emotion that made the other Lumini gasp. "James didn't just save my life. He showed me that differences between species don't matter when hearts connect." James took her glowing hand in his. "I'm not letting her go," he said simply. "Court-martial me if you must, sir, but I love her." The colony leader stepped forward again. "Our settlement needs them both. Her healing skills, his protection. They've become part of our community. Surely there's a way to make this work." Colonel Reed and Elder Light looked at each other. Years of diplomatic training met centuries of Lumini tradition in that gaze. "Perhaps," Elder Light said slowly, her glow showing thoughtful patterns, "it's time for new protocols." "The Defense Force has been looking to improve alien relations," Colonel Reed added, his stern expression softening. "This could be a test case." James and Ada stood together, their differences obvious but their unity clear. Human strength and Lumini grace, Earth determination, and alien wisdom. They had found something unique. "We'll need to create new guidelines," Colonel Reed said. "And adjust our traditional laws," Elder Light agreed. Ada's glow brightened with joy as James squeezed her hand gently. They had done it. Their love had opened a door between their peoples, creating a chance for something new. Sometimes the greatest changes started with the simplest things: a crashed pod, the helping hand, and two hearts brave enough to choose love over rules. 1 year after the dramatic meeting between Earth Defense Force and Lumini officials, James and Ada stood together in the colony's newly built ceremony hall. The room was filled with both humans and Lumini, their differences forgotten in celebration of this historic day. "By the powers of both Earth and Lumini law," the colony leader announced, while Elder Light's glow created traditional blessing patterns, "I now pronounce you husband and wife, united across the stars." James smiled at his bride, whose glow was so bright it filled the room with beautiful blue light. They had become the first officially recognized human Lumini married couple in history. Their love had changed laws on both worlds. The colony itself had grown dramatically over the year. What was once a small settlement had become a thriving center for human Lumini cooperation. The medical center, now officially named the Unity Clinic, had doubled in size. "Ready to go home?" James asked after the ceremony, still in his formal military uniform. Ada nodded, her wedding dress designed to complement her natural glow. Their home was the expanded cabin where their story began. They had modified it to suit both their needs: stronger furniture for James's human strength, and special light-friendly spaces for Ada's Lumini nature. The medical room was now a proper clinic where they both worked. "Remember when I first found you in that crashed pod?" James said as they entered their home. "Who would have thought it would lead to all this?" Ada's glow created the special pattern she used only for him. A mixture of love, happiness, and contentment. Humans have a wonderful saying: everything happens for a reason. Their marriage had done more than just unite two people. It had opened doors between their species. The Earth Defense Force had created a new division specifically for human-alien cooperation, with James as its first captain. Ada had become the colony's chief medical officer, teaching both human and Lumini healing techniques. Other colonies started following their example. More humans and Lumini began working together, learning from each other. The pirates who had once threatened them now avoided the area, knowing it was protected by both species. One evening, as they sat on their porch watching the sunset, a small ship landed near their home. Out stepped a young Lumini medical student and her human security officer partner. "Welcome," Ada said, her glow warm and welcoming. "You must be the new trainees." The couple looked nervous but hopeful. "We want to learn how you did it," the human officer said. "How you made it work between different species." James and Ada exchanged knowing smiles. They had become teachers for others like them, showing that love could bridge any distance, even between stars. "The secret is simple," James explained. "See with your heart, not just your eyes." "And remember," Ada added, her glow creating teaching patterns, "our differences make us stronger together." That night, after the trainees left, James and Ada stood under the stars. The same stars that had once seemed to separate their worlds now connected them. In the distance, they could see the lights of the growing colony, humans and Lumini living and working together. "We did it," Ada said softly, her cool glow mixing with James's warm touch. "We showed them love has no boundaries." "And we're just getting started," James replied, holding her close. "Think of all the others we can help, all the bridges we can build." Their story had become legend in both their cultures. The injured alien girl who crashed on a strange world, and the human soldier whose heart was big enough to love across the stars. They had turned fear into friendship, distrust into love, and separation into unity. As they watched the stars together, both knew that this was more than just their happy ending. It was a beginning. For them, for their peoples, and for all those who dreamed of a universe where love knew no boundaries. In the end, it wasn't about being human or Lumini. It was about being true to their hearts and brave enough to love.